Good morning, dear students. Today we will do the third part of History, Chapter 1, Sources of History. In the previous two lectures, we have discussed the meaning of history, the different sources of history. We have discussed in detail about the written sources of history. In written sources, we have discussed newspaper, newspaper agency, postal stamps, and how they help in understanding history. In this section, we will discuss about the material sources, oral sources, and audio-visual sources. So let's start with the material sources. There are certain materials which help us to know about the past events. For examples, coins. Now, coins have been used by man since thousands of years as a medium of exchange, that is, as money. But that does not mean every coin only had monetary value. No. Kings or rulers who used to mint coins would take note of minute details like metal to be used, the symbol or inscription on the coins, etc. Say, a gold coin indicates the usage of gold during that period. So this information today plays an important role in understanding the history of that period. Places of worship. Now, places of worship like temples, mosque, gurudwara, churches, etc. help us to know about the period of construction, materials used for construction. We get to learn about the style of architecture, that is, pillars, domes, entrance of that structure. So, places of worship become an important source of understanding history. Things in daily use. Say for example, an ivory comb is found in the excavation site of Harappan civilization. We use plastic combs, right? Now we understand that in Harappan civilization, ivory rather than plastic was used to make combs. Even toys for that matter. The type of toys used by children in those days or materials used to make those toys tell us a lot about that period. So these things in daily use like combs, toys, decorative articles, pots, earthenware, etc. give us an idea about the type of civilization of that period. Royal seals. Royal seals are like emblems, as in we have Satyameva Jayate inscribed below our emblem. The seals used during Shivaji's times have inscriptions on them. So what do these royal seals contain? Like when we analyze our national emblem which states Satyameva Jayate, that is, truth always triumphs. Here, truthfulness is given importance in this area. The inscriptions on the royal seals of Shivaji tell us about the language used and the importance of the content on the seal. Thus, royal seals also help us in understanding history. Ornaments. Materials used to make ornaments were bronze, silver, copper, etc. The designs on these ornaments or the various ornaments like necklace, bracelets, nose rings, armbands, etc., and whether used by men or women. Now, all these factors reflect on the lifestyle of the people of that period. Museums, we all know that museum is a place where things of the past are preserved. Clothing or clothes. When we visit these royal palaces, the wardrobe of the royal family is on display. Now, these clothes help us to understand the fabric used by them, the designs in vogue or trend, etc. So, these observations help us to understand the lifestyle of that period. Now, modern architecture or buildings. Students, if you visit CST or VT, you will see the use of big stones. At some places, we see the use of black stones, whereas red stones at some other places. So these buildings or dams, for example, say built 100 years ago or so, give out a lot of information about the materials used for construction, the purpose of construction, and so on. Thus, all these sources help us to know history. They are not in the written form, but rather the materials representing a particular period. Hence, they are called material sources. Let us now learn about two of these materials in detail. Coins. We can also understand history with the help of coins and the changes in the printing of currency notes. Now, students, if you have noticed the designs and the color scheme of the currency notes, they have been changed since the last 4 years. Now you can compare and analyze the difference between the old and the new notes, the changes in them. They will tell us about the new features with regards to security check or image printed on these currency. Now, what do these features tell us? They tell us about significant people or places or events. Coins in earlier times were made of copper and iron. Then, with the passage of times, we used aluminium coins. Now, we use coins made of steel. Earlier, the size of the coins was much bigger than what we use today. So, we see the difference in the shape, the size, the metal used or event. Now, the imprint on the coin tell us a lot about the changes in history. For example, coins convey the message of save water or coins communicating the importance of agriculture and of farmers. Thus, coins are a very important source of collecting data about a particular period in history. Also note, students, that Reserve Bank of India, I repeat, Reserve Bank of India prints the notes. It has its headquarters in Mumbai. Now, museums is a place or an institution that cares for a collection of artifacts and other objects of artistic, cultural, historical, or scientific importance. Every state has a museum. For example, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya at Mumbai near Gateway of India. The museum houses Indus Valley civilization, artifacts, and other relics from the ancient India from the time of Guptas, Mauryas, Chalukyas, and Rashtrakutas. Similarly, we have the Reserve Bank Museum in Pune, where it has collection of coins, notes, and other artifacts related to money circulation in India. Then, apart from these government museums like we discussed earlier, some private collectors also set up their own museums. They are based on distinctive subjects like cinema, sculpture, fabric, lamps, nutcrackers in different shapes, cricket equipment, and many more. So it is not the sole authority of the government, but even individuals who aspire to display their in-depth knowledge and collection can do so depending on their area of interest. Now let us move on to oral sources. Now, oral sources is one of the oldest source of history. In the earlier time, when written sources did not exist, it was only through oral sources that information would be passed from generation to generation. So, oral sources include folk tales like tales of Akbar and Birbal, stories of Tenali Rama, or Panchatantra. Now, these are examples of folk tales which help us to know history. Folk songs of Maharashtra, Rajasthan, etc. give a detailed information about the lifestyle of the people, or tales about kings and queens. So we see these folk songs contain information. Similarly, proverbs. I'm sure you must have heard this proverb, Kahan Raja Bhoj, Kahan Gangu Teli. Now, if we analyze as to who this Raja Bhoj was, or who was Gangu Teli, you will come to know that Raja Bhoj was a great king of central India. So, in that case, how was he connected to Gangu Teli? Here, we see that on analyzing a proverb, we get to know a historical aspect also. Then we have ballads. Now, ballads are songs which narrate a story. Usually, it is more adapted form in the Western countries, but you will get to see its local forms in India also. Ovis. Now, Ovis are Marathi verses in the oral tradition. Ovi is one of the oldest Marathi song genres still performed today. Women's OV is passed through generations of women who sing them while working. Then we have Povadas describing the events of Valor pertaining Shivaji, or say Tanaji's victory over Sinhagad, and so on, in the form of a song. So these are narratives of the brave to some extent. Now, the people who used to narrate stories in the form of povadas were known as Shahir, that is, people's bard in English. For example, Lok Shahir Anna Bhau Sathe and Shahir Amar Sheikh. These people were very famous during the Sanyukta Maharashtra movement. So when Maharashtra wanted its own entity as a state, having Marathi speaking people from Bombay Presidency, at this time these people created an awareness among the people, the enthusiasm related to Marathi language, about being a powerful culture, and the need to come up together to have their own state. So, at such time, Shahirs who were well known among people like Anna Bhau Sathe and Amar Sheikh started motivating people through their povadas. So, this was all about oral sources. Now, let's move to audio visual sources. Audio means sound and visual is what we see. So, audio visual sources are pretty new to us, aren't they? Maybe they are in use for less than 100 years. Say for instance, our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's speech when India became independent, that is on 15th August 1947, is available in the form of audio. You can have access to it even today. It is easily accessible in the internet. We can listen to it anytime. So, internet, radio, television, films are all forms of audio visual sources. Many domestic and foreign television channels have also come under this head. Example, History Channel is a dedicated channel to show the events of history. You will get to watch events like Cold War, World War, etc. Similarly, Discovery Channel helps us to know past events. So these channels like History Channel or Discovery Channel helps us to know or learn history in audio visual form. Now, audio visual form is always preferred than written or oral form, as very less is left to your imagination, and audio visual source on the other hand is very engaging. Now, we need films to promote audio visual source. The Government of India started the Film and Television Institute of India, FTII, in Pune in 1960, providing education in the field of filmmaking, that is in the field of direction, script writing, cinematography, etc. So what is the name of the institute? Film and Television Institute of India. Where is it situated? Pune. And when was it established? In 1960. An institute called Indian News Review has produced various newsreels. Now, newsreels means a form of short documentary film. on important events in politics, social issues, arts, sports, and culture. For example, the celebration of 1983 World Cup. Now, this department has also produced various documents on social leaders like Gadge Maharaj, Baba Amte, Baba Amte, etc., so that people become aware of the contribution of these leaders. Also, about people who have made major contributions for the country and about important locations in India. Students, till now we have seen some important sources of history. The times in 21st century are changing rapidly. So even these resources will prove to be inadequate. Hence, photographs, compressed images, files and hard drives will be the norm. You know students, during the transformation from landline to cell phones, a gadget called pager was in trend. It was used extensively, say for 2 years or so. Then it completely disappeared from the market. Why so? Cell phones had replaced pager. This shows that technology is changing rapidly. So there is a huge change in the methods of preserving history. There is a huge amount of information available on the internet. It is very easy to access any information through the internet, but the authenticity of this information needs to be verified. So this entire lesson throws light on the fact that if we need to know anything about, say, what happened yesterday, right to way back, say, thousands of years ago, we can refer to these sources like oral sources, written sources, material sources, and audio visual sources. These sources help us to know history better. Now, students go through the first lesson and read the lesson well. Try to understand the concepts. Then, you may continue with the notes provided to you. Thank you.